Hello everyone, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming. My name is Malachi Gardner. Today I'm going to be starting my playthrough of Marvel Legendary, designed by Devin Low and published by Upper Deck. I hope you all enjoy the video. So this is what Legendary looks like at the beginning of the game. This is it all set up. So I'm going to be going ahead and explaining all the rules for Legendary, as well as just describing what all these different card types are. So if you're not interested in hearing the rules explanation for Marvel Legendary, you can go ahead and skip to the time printed on the screen. But for everyone else who is still here, let's get into learning what Legendary is. So Marvel Legendary is a cooperative deck building game, and so because it's a deck building game, everyone is going to start with a deck full of 12 cards that are really bad. They're just not good cards whatsoever, but you're going to be able to use those cards to get different resources that will allow us to buy better cards to go into our deck and defeat different enemies. Now, the goal of Marvel Legendary is going to be to defeat the mastermind, which for this game is going to be Dr. Doom. And so he's going to have some special rules text here, and he's going to have some special rules text on his card, that I'll get into in a little bit, but he's also going to have this attack value right here, which for Dr. Doom is 9. In order to win the game, we need to attack him 4 times. And to attack him, we need to spend 9 attack points, and then we can take a random one of these tactics cards that he has, and he has 4 of these, and then we will flip it over and apply its effects to us, and then this will go into our victory point pile. But the whole point is to attack him 4 times. Each time we remove one of these tactics cards, and eventually on the 4th time he's going to have no more tactics cards, at which point he is defeated and the players are successful in winning the game. So that's going to be our goal. We're going to want to buy better cards to go into our deck that we can then play to get attack points, which we can then use to defeat the mastermind, who is Dr. Doom. Now, there are some different loss conditions that we have, but the main one is going to be tied to the scheme, which is a card that's going to be changing every game. Now, these schemes aren't tied to the masterminds or anything like that. Any mastermind you fight against can have any scheme going. And so you can have some. And so for this game, it's going to be portals to the dark dimension. So Dr. Doom is trying to open up portals to the dark dimension, and that's going to cause all sorts of issues. And so each scheme is essentially a scenario that you're going to be able to play. And you're going to have some setup instructions here, and then you're going to have different abilities that are going to trigger when Scheme Twist cards are drawn out of the villain deck. And this is going to cause all sorts of problems for us and do all sorts of nasty things. And it is going to give us and it is going to detail how the villain is going to win. So for this scenario, there are 7 of the Scheme Twist cards in the villain deck, which is this deck over here. And when one of them comes out, it's going to open up a portal that is going to make the mastermind more difficult to defeat. And then on twists 2 through 6, he's going to open up portals in the city here, and that's going to make villains in those city spaces more difficult to defeat. And then when the 7th twist comes out, Dr. Doom is going to be victorious, and he's going to win the game, and we lose the game. So the Scheme Twist is going to tell us how we lose the game, but I will explain that more in detail later on when it becomes more relevant. Over here, we're going to have our Wound and Bystander decks. These cards are just going to sit here for now, and when they come into play, I will explain them then, but for now, you don't really need to worry about them, because they're not really going to be impacting the game too terribly much for quite a while. Now, right here, we have our villain deck. Now, this deck is made up of all sorts of really nasty stuff, such as villains and Scheme Twists, which are going to trigger the abilities on this card, and then Master Strikes, which are going to trigger the abilities on Dr. Doom's card. And so each turn, one card is going to come out of this deck, and that's going to be the villain's turn. So on our turn, we're going to have 6 cards in our hand that are going to be drawn from our deck, and we're going to be able to play these cards, and they're going to give us different resources. We have 2 different primary resources in the game. First, we have the star icon, which is Recruit, and then we have the scratch icon, which is Attack. When we play these cards, they're going to give us the resources printed on their card. And so right here, we're going to have 5 of these shield agents, And so they are going to give us 1 recruit each, so we're going to end up with 5 if we were to play all these cards. So when we play them, we'll get 5 recruit there. And then the shield trooper is going to give us 1 attack. So when we play this, we'll end up with 5 recruit and 1 attack. Then we will be able to go to the HQ, which is right here, and we will be able to purchase several different cards from the HQ, which will then go into our discard pile for later use. We always have access to the shield officers here. So this is Mariah Hill, and each here is going to have a cost listed down here. So Mariah Hill costs 3, and then she's going to give us 2 recruit whenever we play her. So she's just like a upgraded version of the shield agents. Now other heroes, such as this Endless Invention Iron Man card, are going to give us other effects. For example, we can draw a card when we play this. We also have this little microchip symbol, and then it says draw another card. Now, what this means is that that is a superpower, and superpowers are like different combos that we're able to pull off. Now, in order for these superpowers to work, the order in which we play our cards is going to be very important. Each card is going to have a couple of symbols up in the top left corner. Usually, you're going to have a team affiliation, so Iron Man is an Avenger, and then the Shield Trooper is a Shield card. And then you're also going to have a class. Now these two symbols do nothing on their own, but when paired with another card that has an ability like this, we're going to be able to trigger a superpower. So the way this works is when we play this Endless Invention card, we're going to first draw a card from our deck. So just from the top of our deck into our hand, and then we can play that card later this turn. But then we're also going to check to see if we've played another card with this tech symbol. And if we have, then we will draw another card. So let's just say I had these 2 Endless Invention cards in my hand. I can play the first one, and then I'll draw a card. So play this card, and now I draw a card from the top of my deck, and then nothing else happens because I haven't played any other tech characters that turn. Then, when I play the second Endless Invention card, I first draw a card, and then I check to see if I played another tech hero, which I have because this other Endless Invention card does have the tech symbol on it, and then I'm actually able to draw another card. So this is going to be a very crucial part of the game because essentially we're going to be able to trigger upgraded versions of these cards, and that is going to allow us to do way more than we could without triggering these abilities. At any time during your turn, you are able to purchase cards from the HQ using recruit points that you've gotten from cards you've played. Right now I have 5, and I can spend these on any number of cards here as long as I can pay for them. And so if I were to take this Endless Invention card right here, this would cost me 3, and I pay 3 recruit, and then I place it in my discard pile to be used later on. Then another card from the hero deck is going to come up. I'm not going to flip this over so I don't spoil it for now, but it'll come out from the hero deck and replace it, and it will be face up so that I can now purchase that card. And then I could take, now I have 2 recruit remaining, so I could take the Keen Senses card from Wolverine because this costs 2, and then I pay my remaining 2 recruit, and this goes into the discard pile. And that is how recruiting is going to work. Now, the second thing you're going to be able to do is attack. Now, we only have 1 attack, so we really can't do much out here. So really, we're not going to be able to do anything. But if we had 9 attack, then I could attack Dr. Doom, and I could take out one of his 4 tactics cards. Or if there were a villain in the city, such as Blob right here, we could spend the required amount in here, which is 4, and we could then defeat this villain. And then if there's some sort of ability that goes off when we defeat it, that would then happen, and then this would go into our victory pile. And so we're going to be able to attack different villains as they come out into the city, and eventually we're going to be able to take out the mastermind and win the game. At the end of our turn, after we've purchased all the cards we want and defeated all the villains we want, we're going to discard all the cards remaining in our hand, as well as all the cards that we played. And we're going to put everything in our discard pile. And all the cards that we purchased earlier that turn are also going to be in our discard pile. And then we're going to draw 6 more cards from our deck. So you're always going to end the turn with 6 cards. And now we have our new hand. Now after we play our next turn, we're going to go ahead and buy the cards we want. We're going to go ahead. Now, next turn, we're going to play a card from the villain deck, buy any cards we like, and defeat any villains, and then we're going to discard all the cards we purchased, as well as the cards we played and had in our hand at the end of the turn. And then we'll draw another hand. But at this point, we will have no cards remaining in our deck. At which point, we'll shuffle our discard pile and make it into a new deck. But the only difference is that now we have all the cards we purchased in our deck. And we're now going to be able to draw these on future turns. So that's how we're going to upgrade our deck. Alright, so that is most of the rules for Legendary. So I'm just going to go ahead and now start playing. Now there's some other things that I didn't quite mention, like how villains move around in the city, but I'm going to just explain that as it comes up, and I'm sure it will very soon. So we have our 6 cards here, which just happened to be the hand that I showed in the example, but I did shuffle it. So now we're going to start our turn by drawing the top card of the villain deck, and it is going to be a bystander. So there's only one bystander in the deck for a single player game, so we're not going to be seeing any more of these. When a bystander comes out of the villain deck, it is going to get captured by the closest villain. If there was a villain in the sewers, which is the first space here, then it would be tucked under that card as a captured bystander. Since there's no one there, we're going to check the bank. Since there's no one there, rooftop, and so on, going through the streets, and bridge. And now, since there's no villains in the entire city, it's actually going to get captured by the mastermind. So we're going to tuck this under the mastermind card to show that the mastermind has kidnapped a bystander. Now when we go and attack the mastermind and spend 9 attack points, in addition to taking one of his tactics cards, we're also going to rescue the bystander, which will, in addition to giving us an additional point, it also may impact some card abilities that will trigger based off of the amount of bystanders we have rescued or other things. So it's just going to sit there, and essentially what's nice with bystanders is essentially they are dead cards in the villain deck, so that was actually a pretty good first turn, but unfortunately that was the only bystander we had in the villain deck, and all of the other cards in the villain deck are not as friendly as bystanders. They're all pretty nasty. From now on, we're just going to be seeing bad cards come out on the villain's turn. But let's go ahead and start by playing cards. So, like I said in the rules explanation, the order in which we play our cards is going to be very important with our superpower abilities, but starting out, it's actually not too crucial the order we play our cards because none of these starting cards in our hand have any special abilities, so this is just the order I'm going to play it in. So we have 5 recruit and then 1 attack, and so now we can go through and do any combination of attacking and recruiting in any order. Unfortunately though, our 1 attack is not enough to defeat anyone, so that's going to go to waste. Then we have 5 recruit, and so we can go ahead and take a look at the HQ. So we've already looked at this Endless Invention card here, and so this says we can draw a card when we play it, and then if we've already played a black tech card, we can draw an additional card. So we have 2 of those, and those look pretty cool. And then we have this Keen Senses card here, and this is an X-Men, and has an Instinct icon, and then this is going to give us 1 attack, and then it's going to have an Instinct superpower, which says we can draw another card. And both Iron Man and Wolverine have a lot of card draw abilities going on. So each character is going to have different rarities of cards that denote how many copies are in the deck, as well as generally how powerful they are. And each character is going to have 1 rare card, which is denoted by the fact that it is borderless. So this is Wolverine's rare card. And so each hero has 1 card in the deck that is rare. So this is Berserker Range. So it costs 8, which is insane, but it allows us to draw 3 cards, and then as an Instinct superpower, you get +1 attack for each extra card you've drawn this turn. So each turn you're going to draw 6 cards, but each card after that initial 6 is going to give us +1 attack. And so that is going to be really good, in addition to just getting those extra 3 cards in our hand. Finally, we have Repulsor Rays, which is an Iron Man card. And this is going to give us 2 attack, and then as a ranged superpower, we get +1 attack. So this could give us 3 attack potentially, which would be really good. And you may notice that all of the cards for each hero just has 1 image on it, so all of the illustrations of Iron Man look the same. That is just an unfortunate fact about the base game of Legendary, and we're just using the base game here. And there's still plenty more of the base game that I'm not even using this game. But all the characters in the base game just have 1 piece of art for them for whatever reason. But luckily, all the expansions, and there are a lot of expansions. I believe there's something around 23 expansions out there. Now, each hero on all the expansions do have unique art for each card. So each character has 4 unique cards in their kit, and so they're each going to have 4 unique pieces of art, which just makes it a lot more fun, and you can tell at a glance which card is which. So it's all great, which is all great, but still the base game only has 1 piece of art per character. So that doesn't really affect the game, but I did just want to point that out. The expansions do look nicer than the base game. So I'm going to actually take the Endless Invention card, and then I'm also going to take, and then I am now going to replace the empty slot there with another Repulsor Ray card, and then I'm going to take the Keen Senses card, and those are both going to go into my discard pile. And now we actually get Iron Man's rare card. And this is going to be kind of interesting, having a bunch of really expensive cards out in the center, out in the HQ this early because I can't actually afford them. But this is Quantum Breakthrough, which is Iron Man's rare card. It says draw 2 cards, and then as a tech superpower, we can draw 2 more cards. So this could potentially give us 4 card draws, which would be amazing. So now we spent all the resources we can. That 1 attack is going to go to waste, unfortunately, but there's nothing we can do about that. So now all the cards in my hand and all the cards I played are going to be placed in my discard pile. And then I'm going to draw the other 6 cards on my deck. Alright. Now we're going to draw the top card of the villain deck, and it is a Scheme Twist. So we're going to place this, so we're going to lay this down, and we're going to go over to the scheme and see what this does. Alright, so for the Portals to the Dark Dimension scheme, it is going to say for twist 1, so it says for twist 1, we put the Dark Portal, which is the Scheme Twist. So it says that each twist in this game is a Dark Portal. So this is considered a Dark Portal. And for the first twist that comes out of the deck, we put the Dark Portal above the Mastermind, and the Mastermind gets +1. So that means that this is going to go right above Dr. Doom, and now he is going to get +1 attack. So now he's going to have 10 attack instead of just the regular 9. So it's going to make it a little bit trickier to hit him. When you're playing this game solo, there's going to be a couple of rules that are going to be slightly different than when you're playing in a multiplayer game. One of those rules is after resolving a Scheme Twist, like we just did, we have to choose a card in the HQ that costs 6 or less, and we have to take it and put it on the bottom of the hero deck. So I'm going to take the Repulsor Ray card here, and this costs less than 6, and then we're going to take this and place it on the bottom of the hero deck. And now we have a new card here that I'll take a look at. So this is another Wolverine card, and it is Frenzied Slashing. So it costs 5, gives us 2 attack, and as an instinct superpower, we can draw 2 cards. So that's really good. Alright, so now we can go ahead and just take our turn like normal. So we have 3 Shield Troopers, so we have 3 attack, and again, won't be able to do anything with that, unfortunately. But now we have 3 Recruit, so I'm going to set that down, and then I'm going to take another Endless Invention. So I'm going to place that in my discard pile, and what do you know, it's another Endless Invention. So now we're going to discard everything that I played, and now we have no more cards in my deck, so I will shuffle my discard pile into a new deck, and then I'll draw 6 cards. Now the 3 cards that I purchased on my past 2 turns are going to be in my deck, and I will be able to draw those potentially as one of my next 6 cards. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead to the villain turn and draw a card. It's going to be a Master Strike. So like I said earlier, when we get a Scheme Twist, we're going to refer to the Scheme card. When we get a Master Strike, we're going to refer to the Villain card. So from Dr. Doom, when we draw a Master Strike, each player with exactly 6 cards in hand reveals a tech hero or puts 2 cards from their hand on top of their deck. So we will look at our hand. So we actually did draw this Endless Invention card here. So we can choose to reveal this card, which has a tech symbol, or we have to put 2 cards from our hand on top of our deck. Now, there really isn't going to be much of a benefit for us to do that and put 2 cards on top of our deck. That's really not something we want to do. So I am going to reveal this card, and now I'm not going to have to put 2 cards on top of my deck. Now, this is going to be discarded and placed in the KO pile, which is just an area that is out of the game. Another special rule for the solo game is that after playing a Master Strike card, we have to actually play an additional card from the villain deck. So we'll do that, and it is Juggernaut, who's going to be our first villain, and he has an ambush ability, and you must resolve ambush abilities as soon as they are played from the villain deck. So this says each player KOs 2 heroes from their discard pile. So that means that we have to check our discard pile, which is actually currently empty, and if it had cards in it, we have to take 2 of those cards of our choice and KO them, which means they're going to be placed in the KO pile, and they are removed from the game. So it actually is kind of unfortunate that we don't have any cards in our discard pile, because if we were able to KO some of these starter cards, that would mean that we could draw our purchased really cool cards a lot more frequently. So that is unfortunate that we're not going to be able to do that. So Juggernaut is now going to be placed into the city. So he's going to start in the first space, which is the sewers. So he's going to go there, and now we can attack him, and he has 6 attack. So you need to spend 6 attack to defeat him. Now if another villain enters the city, they would go to the sewers, and then Juggernaut would be pushed from the sewers into the bank. So the new one always goes to the sewers, and then they push the other ones down. So the villains are always going to be moving from right to left with new villains pushing the older villains. If a villain ever is on the bridge and then gets pushed in, they're going to escape and be placed into the escape pile. But before doing that, you're going to need to resolve their escape abilities that they may have. For example, Juggernaut says each player KOs 2 heroes from their hand. So when he escapes, we have to KO 2 cards from our hand, which is still good for us to be able to have a higher volume of, to be able to draw a higher volume of our good cards, that we purchase from the HQ, but KO cards from your hand is not all that great. But KO cards from your hand can be kind of bad, because then for that turn you're not going to be able to play those cards. So it's better to KO cards from your discard pile, but still KO cards from your hand is pretty good still. Nonetheless, when a villain escapes, you are going to need to KO a card from the HQ that costs 6 or less. So it would be very similar to how these Scheme Twists go off, but instead of putting the card under the bottom of our hero deck, we're going to have to KO it, and then it's going to be out of the game. And then also, if a villain has captured a bystander and then they escape, we are going to discard a card from our hand as a penalty for not stopping that villain. So when a villain escapes, all sorts of really bad things happen, and we don't want that to happen, so we should try to defeat the villains before that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and start by playing the 3 shield troopers, and then I'm going to play these 2 shield agents, and then I'm going to play Endless Invention, and I'm going to draw a card. Alright, this is going to be Keen Senses, and I'm going to be able to play this, and it's just going to give me the 1 attack because I have not actually played another instant hero. Now we're going to add up all of our stats. We have 4 attack, and then 2 recruit. So 4 attack is still not going to be able to do anything, and then 2 recruit actually also can't do anything for us. So this is a really bad turn where we can't do anything at all. So that stinks. So now I'm just going to take all these, place them into the discard pile, and draw my next 6 cards. Alright, let's draw another card. And it's another Scheme Twist. So let's refer to the Scheme card. So for twists 2 through 6, we're going to place the Dark Portal in the leftmost city space that doesn't yet have a dark portal. Villains in that city space get +1. So, the mastermind is getting +1 from the first portal, and the second portal is going to go over the bridge. So now, villains in the bridge are now going to get +1 attack. And then it's going to keep on traveling through until the whole city fills up, and then we lose the game. Now, I'm going to take a card and put it at the bottom of the hero deck. I think I'm going to take the other Repulsor Ray card, put this on the bottom of the hero deck, and draw a card, which is going to be an Iron Man card. I'll read in a bit. So this is going to be the Arc Reactor card. And this costs 5 and gives us 3 attack. And then it has a tech superpower that says you get +1 attack for each other tech hero you played this turn. So that's pretty good. It could deal a lot of damage if you have a lot of these black tech cards. And in case you were wondering, for a solo game, you build the hero deck using 3 heroes. So for this game, I have Iron Man and Wolverine. And then I also have Captain America, who has not come up yet, but I really like playing with Captain America, so hopefully we see some of his cards soon. Alright, so let's go ahead and play our Shield Trooper and our agents. And then we have an Endless Invention card. I'll play that and draw another Shield Agent. Alright, go here. So now we have 1 attack, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 recruit. So I think I'm actually going to take the Arc Reactor, since I've already purchased several black cards. Draw this, and there we go. It's a Captain America card. And this is his rare card. So we have now seen all 3 of the heroes' rare cards, and that means that we're really going to have a hard time finding cards to purchase, unfortunately. But, oh well. So this is a day unlike any other. It costs 7 and gives us 3 attack. Then, as an Avenger superpower, so you can have superpowers for classes, but you can also have them for teams, such as this card right here, and it gives us, and it says you get +3 attack for each other Avenger hero you played this turn. So that is really good. You can get a ton of attack with that card if you have a lot of Avenger cards. So I have no more recruit, and I can't afford anything to attack, so I go ahead and discard my cards, and I will draw my last card, and then I will shuffle my discard pile to make a new deck, and then I'll draw the other 5 cards I need. Alright, let's go ahead and see what happens in the villain turn. Alright, so it's going to be Mystique, and she is a villain with 5 attack, and she has an escape ability that says Mystique becomes a scheme twist that takes effect immediately. So when she escapes, she is going to become a scheme twist, which would be really bad because that's going to speed up our loss condition. So now she's going to enter the sewers and push Juggernaut to the bank. And so now we'll go ahead and take our turn. Alright, let's play this Shield Trooper and then our 3 agents. And then let's play Endless Invention and draw a card. And it is the Arc Reactor card. So let's play Keen Senses and then Arc Reactor. So Arc Reactor, we're actually going to be able to trigger our superpower, and it is going to give us +1 attack for each other black hero I play this turn. And I only have 1 other black tech hero, so it's going to be +1. So I have 3 +1 for Arc Reactor, so Arc Reactor is going to give me +4 total. And then 1 from Keen Senses, and then 1 from the Shield Trooper, so that's going to give me 6 total. And so now I am actually going to take Juggernaut and defeat him. So then he's going to be placed in my victory pile, which will just be up here, off screen. Now I have 3 recruit, and I am going to go ahead and take this Endless Invention card, because I really want to be able to enhance that synergy. And now we have another Arc Reactor that I'll be able to use. Everything goes in my discard pile, and I will draw 6 more cards. Alright. It is a Doombot Legion card. This is a henchman villain. It works just like a regular villain, except there's just a lot of them, and they're generally pretty weak. So this guy only has 3 attack, and then he has a fight ability, which means that after we fight him, this ability will go off. And it says, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, K one of them, and put the other back. So that'll be a good way of thinning out our deck with removing the bad cards. So now let's go ahead and play the Shield Troopers and then our officers, just to get those out of the way. Now we have an Endless Invention card that'll play, and I will draw a Shield Agent and 1 with 4 recruit and 2 attack. So I actually am unable to buy any of these cards from the HQ because they're all so expensive. So I'm going to buy the Shield Officer, which costs 3 and gives me 2 recruit. Then, can't attack anything, so that'll be that. Alright, draw 2 cards, then I'll shuffle this up and draw the other 4. Alright, from the villain deck we get a Master Strike. So, we're going to reveal our hand. And we do not have a tech hero in our hand, so we're going to actually take 2 cards from our hand and put that on top of our deck. So, I think I'm going to put a Shield Agent and a Shield Trooper on top of my deck. And then we'll actually have to take another card from the villain deck. And it's another Master Strike. Now, an interesting thing with this is that the Mastermind Master Strike ability specifically says that it only affects each player with exactly 6 cards in hand. So I actually don't need to place 2 more cards on top of my deck because I have 4 cards in my hand instead of 6. So now we'll draw an additional card, and it is the Blob, who's a villain with 4 attack, and has an ability saying you can't defeat Blob unless you have an X-Men hero. Alright. Alright, so now it's finally our turn. That was a fairly lengthy villain turn, actually. So we'll play all these cards. 1 attack, not good enough for anything. 3 recruit will give us a Shield Officer. So that'll be that. Then I will draw cards from my hand. 6 cards. Alright. Ooh, got 3 special cards there. That's cool. Alright, we have another Blob. So I guess there's some sort of cloning going on there to give us 2 Blobs. So I have a choice here. Either I could play the Endless Invention card, then the Arc Reactor, and then I'll be able to trigger the Arc Reactor's combo ability, or I could play the Arc Reactor, then Endless Invention, and combo with Endless Invention. So, which one do I want to do? Arc Reactor gives me +1 attack, whereas Endless Invention would give me an extra card draw. Let's see, I'm really not sure about that. So if I get 3, 4, 5 attack. Alright, you know what? I actually think I'm going to go with Arc Reactor, then Endless Invention, and then I will draw 1 card, and then I'll combo with its ability and draw a 2nd card. Alright, and that actually may pay off because I have another Endless Invention that'll play, and I'll draw another card, and then another card. So in the end, that was pretty good. So now let's go ahead and just play all these cards, and this card's not really going to be able to combo off of anything. So that's that. Then I have 1 attack from a Shield Officer, 3 attack from the Arc Reactor, so it's 4, and then 1 from Keen Senses, so that will be 5. So I'll go ahead and fight Mystique, and she will not become a Scheme Twist, which is good. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 recruit. Not quite enough to get one of these rare cards, unfortunately, but I could either get 2 Shield Officers, get Arc Reactor, or I could get Frenzied Slashing. And I think that I am going to go for another Arc Reactor card, just to really double down on that combo. And we have a Healing Factor card. And so this card costs 3 and gives us 2 attack. It says you may KO a wound from your hand or discard pile. If you do, draw a card. So I haven't really talked about wounds yet. These are wound cards, and they're going to go into our deck based off of various card effects, and they are not going to do anything. So when you have a wound in your hand, you can't do anything with it, and that's kind of annoying because now you're essentially only going to have 5 cards for that turn. And then when you get a lot of them, if you have like 2 or 3 in your hand, that's going to get really annoying. But you can play cards such as the Healing Factor to remove these from your deck by KOing them, and so then that will be good and give you a way of healing, but they also have an innate way of healing, as listed on the card, and so it says, if you don't recruit any heroes or defeat any villains on your turn, and that would also include not defeating masterminds, then you may KO all wounds from your hand. So if you essentially spend a turn doing nothing and resting, then you will be able to remove all of the wounds from your hand, which is generally a good idea if you have a turn where you have 2 or 3 wounds in your hand. So wounds are really bad. Having ways to, like this, to remove those from your deck without having to spend an entire turn doing that is a pretty good idea. Alright, so now that is going to be my turn. And it was a pretty good turn, so now I'll draw 6 more cards. So I draw 4 cards here, and I'll have to shuffle my deck. So I think that this is actually where I'm going to stop this video for now, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I know that this is one of my favorite games, and so I really enjoy playing it, and I'm enjoying making this video. And so I hope you are all enjoying this video as much as I am enjoying making it. Please like this video, and if you enjoyed it and you want to see more content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever I upload more content. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy gaming!